My name is Dr. Karambu Ringera. I am the founder and president of International Peace Initiatives and the 3G Foundation.
Yeah.
International Peace Initiatives has a number of programs, and the core program for us is the Kithoka Amani Children's Home.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a leadership program that we call the New Generation Leaders Program. And we have a women's empoweredness program. If I forget to talk about it, remind me to tell you why I call it the Women's Empoweredness and Empowerment Program.
Yes.
We also have an eco center where we are learning and sharing with people permaculture skills and regen culture, a regen culture approach to living. As we talk about, a lot of people talk about food security is what Africa needs.
Yeah.
And Africa actually needs food sovereignty. Food sovereignty because food security is about someone else coming to tell us the kinds of foods that we need here, but largely we are monocropping. We're using a lot of chemicals to grow our food and to preserve our food.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenya today has one of the highest incidents of cancer cases in Africa. And this was not the case before. So our eco center is a space that I've created for people to come and just, like brainstorm, share, talk about a different way of living that is possible, that is present to people, Mother Earth, and how we relate to the, Mother Earth, the earth and nature and animals and everything that we've been given to do the dance of this life with.
Yeah.
It's also a place where we invite people to come and remember who they are. I feel like current systems are premised on an approach that tells people what to think, how, and almost like when. So the systems have programmed us, and we have been conditioned to thinking in certain ways. Think of a country like Kenya. We were a British colony, and so even our education system is very British. The way I speak my English is very British, like Americans would be very happy to tell me. And I don't have the British accent, of course, but I have the Kenyan accent. The missionaries came and totally dismantled our religion. Mm-hmm. And so that's another systemic change that has happened to us. Our culture is no longer what it used to be. And then we also have patriarchy as the foundation of how all these systems work. And patriarchy has kind of forgotten that there is, for example, in Kenya, where women are 51% of the population, patriarchy has forgotten that there's a 51% voice that has been silenced. Yeah. And its absence is the result of these systems that are collapsing right now. And so our work is about reminding people who they are, because I say the tragedy of a people is when they forget who they are and they don't know their power. The tragedy of a people is not knowing who they are and not knowing their power. Allowing someone else to tell your story and to write it for you. And then you parrot that story that someone else has written for you. So I feel like we live someone else's story. And I think it is time for us to awaken to recognizing or reclaiming our story and choosing to write it, like this African proverb that says, until the lion learns to write, the story always glorifies the hunter.
Absolutely.
So that's my introduction. I'm sorry, it's kind of long.
No, it's wonderful. It encompasses everything that you've worked on so far. And could you tell me in one brief sentence, maybe, what Amani is?
The full name is Kithoka. Kithoka is the place, the location where we are. Amani is peace in Swahili, children's home. And I call it a home, not an orphanage, because I perceive an orphanage to be an institution. And a home is a home, like your home, Nikki, where you grew up. So we live as a family. And I say the difference between an institution and a home is that an institution is run by people who think or feel their duty is to manage this institution. And there are rules and regulations that inform the management of that institution.
Yeah.
But the running of most institutions is very top down.
Yeah.
And the management tells the kids almost what to think, what to do, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A home is also a form of institution, but it is a family is more circular than top down. And the choice that I've made with our home is allow the kids to step into their power. First of all, we don't look at them as victims of their circumstances. They may be orphans, but like one of them recently reminded me, he said, I may be an orphan, but I'm not the one who is dead. You know, when a kid gets to understanding who they are and that they are not their circumstances.
Yeah.
So they know they're whole, they're complete, they're pure, and they're enough.
Yeah.
They know that they are as complete and whole as anybody else. And we don't define them by their circumstances. So you never hear us referring to a kid as, oh, these poor kids who this and the other. And I look at them as any other child, and I expect them to perform even better than these other so-called normal family children, you know. And yet, as you and I know, there are very many homes with parents, even both parents, that are very dysfunctional. I know in our New Generation Leaders program, one of the major challenges for youth is that they have either an absent father, or there's violence in the home, or there are so many challenges in normal homes, you know. And so even in those homes, if I am a mother of a home like that, the first thing I would like my child to know is that they are whole, complete, complete, pure, and enough, and that they are not the circumstances that they are finding in their homes, because that's their parents' drama and story.
Decision making. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kithoka Amani Children's Home is a unique space for a child to grow loved, supported, and encouraged to know who they are.
Yeah.
And to step into their power. So every one of them, even the littlest one, has gone through the New Generation Leaders program, because it teaches them that you're a leader, you are a leader now, today. The world tells them that you're the next generation of leaders. And I keep asking them, when will next come?
Thank you. Thank you. I've gone through so many youth leadership programs, and I've always wondered, when will this next start? Because I'm mid-30s now, and we're still talking about the next, and I still haven't seen the next. So thank you. I'm absolutely with you on that one. It's when does the next start?
When does next, come? So, and you have so many gifts that from the day you were born up to now, you have so many gifts that you've given to the world. But if we are waiting for next, then we are going to sit on our gifts, and yet I have come to understand that everybody is a leader. The gifts that you have are the ones that you hold and bring to the world now, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm thinking of changing my program's name to the Now Generation of Leaders program, because people need to live their lives now, not tomorrow. And even a 5-year-old child, when you start, um, when you start tickling that, knowing that you have something special to offer at the children's home.
Yeah.
So little Kawera will loves to do certain things, and that is what you encourage her to do. And she loves it when she has responsibility,
Yeah.
when she has a role to play. Because if you don't give her something to do and she can see everybody is doing something, she'll ask you,
Yeah.
so what am I supposed to do? And she, within the few years that she's been with us, she's just, blossomed, and her wisdom is like that of an older person.
Yeah.
So the home is a space for kids who would not have had that kind of opportunity to find who they are and to step into the leader that they are now. Yeah. When we were starting the children's home, it was a call from the women I was working with, living with HIV and AIDS. My TED talk is about that.
And Beatrice,
And,
yes.
yeah, it's about the women and what I learned from them. And so when the women said to me that we want you to know that when we die, our children will be yours. And I at that point, I think I had 95 women in different women's groups.
Yeah.
I was like, and I was a student. So it's not like I have a house or anything where they're coming to bring these children. And most of them don't have just 1 or 2 or 3 kids. And I'm like, okay, I will take your kids, but please don't die quickly.
Let's negotiate.
Yeah, please let's hold this life a little bit so that we can figure out where we are going, how you're going to do this dance. But I wanted them to recognize that that they don't need to worry. There's a place where their children will go. However, I said to them, since I'm a student and I don't have land and I don't have a house, at that point, 7 or 9 kids were staying with my mom, and I was a student, so I couldn't even send her money to feed them or anything. So every time I came for holidays, she'd be like, take your kids. And so we used to rent a place, and then we would stay with the kids there for during the holidays. And then when I had to go back to school, I would take them back home to my mom. So anyway, I said to the women, you have to look for community land, free land, so that we can start thinking about building a children's home. And I asked them, will you come to help me build? And then much later, they were telling me when, like some of them who had their husbands or were being asked by the men, have you ever seen a house built by a woman? So you see the way culture and patriarchy stops women, because we might have stopped and said, oh, so there's no house that has ever been built by a woman, so we can't, But of course, I knew we could do that. And so they said, yes, we'll look for the land and we'll help you build. And so 1 year later, when I came back home for the summer holidays, they told me there's a committee of 111 people who want to find out why we want free land, because they have found a piece of land that they can give us for the children's home. So I told them, you're going with me because this is not my story. It is our story, So we went and we presented why we needed land for a children's home. And they gave us this piece of land, but they gave us an 11 committee, mostly of men, to work with us. Mm-hmm. So they came and showed us the land. I tell you, the land was a piece of wasteland, like rocky piece of wasteland. They had even tried to sell it to someone and they couldn't, because there was nothing to show for it. But when I saw that land, I was so excited. I was like, wow, we have a space to build a children's home, so these ladies don't have to feel as if they are going to die tomorrow and the children will go to the streets. I knew they would have peace.
Yeah.
Because I have discovered that in my work, peace is not merely the absence of war. It is when people have access to resources and information to enable them make informed decisions and live a life of dignity so that they can thrive. So I realized that peace is, the way we define peace sometimes is very narrow, but I realized that when the women had money for food or for medicine, for school fees and that kind of stuff, they had peace. Yeah. When the kids could go to school, they had peace. So I said, oh, but we tend to think that peace is about not being in war. Then I realized also the systems that we have created and the kind of challenges that they bring to people is a form of war that we fight. And so that's how this work has broadened my understanding of systems and institutions and their intention and their role and how they have programmed me, and the importance of working to deprogram and decondition myself, but also working with other people so that we can see how these systems have impacted us so that we can choose to make a difference.